Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a weekend. It is the Earthmaster here, Saturday, July 27th, 2024. It's about 12:45 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 1.7 there in the red flag around the Texas area, it looks like. Also a 3.3 down here. Looks like maybe off the coast there of the Nicaragua area. We did see some movement a little bit ago, a few hours ago, down in New Zealand. A 4.8 coming in early this morning, my time anyway. Probably, I'm guessing that's going to be late in their time period. Just off the North Island coast here in the Bay of Plenty area. Very shallow earthquake, 4.8. I'm going to run over here to the GeoNet servers here real quick and take a look at some of these reports, see what we have going on from this quake. It looks like they're reporting this earthquake happened this morning, yesterday their time, as a 4.6. So a little bit of a downgrade there from the GeoNet servers. But looking at the map here, was felt fairly broadly across the North Island, even down into the South Island area. 4.8, that's it's a moderate earthquake, not a big one. But a little bit of shaking going on down there across the North Island area. Previous to that, there's a couple smaller quakes that were felt here in the last week or so. Let's go ahead and check out the earthquake drums there across New Zealand, see if we got any type of swarming or any unusual activity. It looks like there was two earthquakes there within this region. The 4.8 going to be the largest one here in the sequence. This looks very similar, maybe a little bit smaller, but still within the past 24 hours here across this area of North Island, along with a what looks like a decent amount of aftershock activity here following these events. Let me go and add all these magnitudes here real quick. Looks like there's definitely some aftershock activity coming into this area, specifically there just off the North Island area in the Bay of Plenty region. Quite a few small ones as well, so we're not going to go through all those, but just a heads up, things look like they are getting a little bit more active out there across New Zealand. South Island area, as we head down south here, or at least on the page. This visits the South Island area stations, and not a whole lot going on here across South Island. Mainly the focus right now all up along that plate boundary, or just off the plate boundary here at the Bay of Plenty. All right, look at the rest of the model out here. Got a little bit of movement down here off the coast here of Mexico. 5.3 coming in about 3:30 in the morning here. Fairly shallow, about 19 kilometers deep here. Nothing big. There's some movement down here off the coast here of the El Salvador area. A couple fours coming in. And I believe some of that newer activity is within that region as well, or maybe just a little bit south. Looks like we got some activity stirring up here in the Gulf of California, working its way up into the Baja California area. Nothing showing up here on the USGS map in that area, but taking a look at Southern California, small amount of earthquake activity out here, mainly on the San Jacinto Fault Zone, a little bit down here on the Imperial Fault, but with this renewed activity down south here that's showing up on the globe, we'll keep an eye on Southern California because things normally will migrate up here across this area. There's a little cluster going on right on the San Andreas Fault, the southern segment here. Nothing big for now. Let's see what we got for 2.5 and above. Most of these from yesterday, two of them. Two 2.5s, they're from yesterday. So all these quakes that you see on the map here for California, all small microquakes for now. Up around Mount St. Helens, still seeing a little bit of earthquake activity. Looks like we got a little clustering going on here across Mount St. Helens again. Mainly this morning, so let's go check out the information here on that. See if we can look at some gas emission stations there across Mount St. Helens, which is currently at a green and normal. Even with this earthquake activity, that's still somewhat normal in terms of their background activity there. Seismograph station, let me zoom in here underneath the summit area. See if this one's working. It is. Some of these may not be earthquakes. The defined ones are going to be these really spiky ones right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a handful of them. This other noise, I'm not for sure what it is. Could be some type of outside interference, or it could be some quakes at a distance there. But definitely got a little bit of smaller earthquake activity there. The gas emissions stations here. Let's see what we got for any type of activity. Hydrogen sulfide there, pretty quiet. I really don't see anything of any noteworthy value here. Sulfur dioxide, that's the past month. Some of these stations are offline here, but I don't see any large spikes or anything that would indicate any type of volcanic gassing going on here across the area. So we'll just watch that little swarm, a little bit of earthquake activity that's happening there across Mount St. Helens. Some scattered activity up across the extreme northwestern area of Washington. Make sure bells are off. Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up here on the map today. And but it does look like we've seen a one little earthquake here on the northwestern corner here of Yellowstone National Park. Not a big earthquake. Did show up here across quite a few stations, so I'm guessing that's probably at least a 2-pointer, maybe a little bit more. But aside from that, pretty quiet. Looks like we got some type of wind events down here, or maybe some thunderstorms. So let me go double check that, see what we got. Whenever these strange readings pop up here, I just like to verify. So wind gusts, yeah, we already got winds kicking up out here in the area. Probably going to intensify throughout the afternoon. 30-something mile per hour gusts, maybe higher across various stations out here. It is showing up a little bit there on the east entrance. Mary Lake's starting to pick it up now as well. So it'll be a dark-colored line, dark-colored blue signature on these graphs that are indicative there of the wind. As far as earthquake activity goes, just that one little earthquake there. It looks like it's centered around the maybe the Purple Mountain or the Maple Creek area. Throughout Texas area, still seeing a little bit of movement out here. It's quieted down a little bit after a couple days of earthquake activity in the oil fields just outside of Snyder, Texas. Pecos, Texas area, still seeing some movement today out in the oil fields. Now, regardless if these are in operation or not, the damage here has been done. So sometimes we get earthquake activity almost immediately following either fracking or wastewater injection process, and then sometimes it takes years. So even though some of these operations may not be operationable anymore, they will continue to see earthquake activity. Same for up in Oklahoma. The New Madrid seismic zone here, seen a couple earthquakes in the last 24 hours, it looks like. A couple this morning as well. There's 2.3, 2.5. Nothing big going on there for now. Across the Atlantic Ocean here, got one earthquake way down south here in the South Georgia Island region. This is going to be at the extreme northern end here of the South Sandwich Trench, which is a major subduction zone area for a 5.3. The Atlantic Ocean pretty quiet. We did have a little bit of change up here across the volcanoes in the Iceland area. The Katla volcano has been added to the list here of things to watch. The last eruption was back in 1918. Now, the reasoning for the upgrade here is due to, it looks like they have a lot of water runoff and melting going on across that glacier, which is right here. This volcano sits underneath there. And they're definitely getting some heated areas below melting that glacier area. In fact, certain regions there have been evacuated due to uncertainty about the continuation of the activity. It's kind of hard to read, but they do chat about the melting and runoff water from this area. But according to this map here, last eruption was back in 1918, but obviously got a little bit of uptick going on there underneath this area. Not erupting, but it is, something's melting the glacier there. Far as the Reykjanes area around Grindavik, let's go check this out here real quick, see what we got for earthquake activity. See, there's where all that movement's happening there across that volcano. Looks like mainly on the northern side here of the Katla volcano. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I'm not for sure if there's any other way to pronounce that, at least looking at it anyway, with the wording. Definitely got a decent earthquake swarm going on underneath there. But again, they've moved this up to a yellow, so continue to keep an eye on that area. Over here across the Grindavik region, not so much in terms of earthquake activity, that's for sure. Let's go check out some inflation events, see what we got here with the 8-hour run time. You know what I want to do? Hold on a second here. I want to go back and check out the, well, that one's offline here. I guess we don't have too many stations out there monitoring the GPS activity there. It's a little weird. All right, anyway, we'll have to double check that a little bit later. But far as the Svartsengi area, which is currently inflated here, check out the Grindavik run here, and they're still going up. In fact, this latest 8-hour run time shows a pretty nice jump right there on that red dot. Vertical displacement, or continuing to go up and up and up here since the since that last eruption. We lost a little bit of volume of magma, but now we're up and even above the level seen prior to the last eruption. Alaska area, well, got a little bit of movement here in the Cook Inlet area, 4.3 from last night. Nothing of abnormal activity for now. It's very typical to see earthquake activity up there. The Kuril Kamchatka, one earthquake there from yesterday. Nothing new to report across this area. In fact, a look at the earthquake 3D globe here shows most of the movement across the typical crunch zone here, Taiwan southward. Nothing major, just it looks like a 5-pointer and a bunch of other 3s and 4s in the mix there. There's a New Zealand activity. Got to watch that, getting some deeper quake activity mixed in with some surface adjustment there. And the rest of the globe here got some older movement quakes there from yesterday in the red color rings. A little bit of activity across the Azores, and there's the activity up in Iceland. Let's see what we got for Hawaii today. Last night during the update, things were starting to calm down a little bit. And as of today, it looks like they are, well, there's a couple 2s in there. Let's go see what's going on there across the big island of Hawaii. Yeah, definitely dropped off in terms of the earthquake count out here. A couple more earthquakes back building here across, heading down in a little fashion here towards the middle east rift zone area. So let's see what we got here for the, let me zoom in here just a little bit. Yeah, we're starting to pick back up, it looks like. A little bit quiet there yesterday, but as of this morning here, it looks like things are starting to kick back up with a lot of earthquake activity. Not a whole lot showing up on the USGS map, but these are all indeed earthquakes, so we'll continue to watch that across this area. I don't think we've seen anything major in terms of tilt. Fairly stationary, just at a somewhat of a standstill right now. in terms of what to expect here across this area. Here's the last week here across the summit region of Kilauea Volcano. Notice that magma intrusion. That's a displacement of magma from the summit further to the southeast there on the upper east rift zone. We're leveling off right now, but these things can take a little while, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it for sure. Space weather activity. Let's see what we got here as far as anything of noteworthy value goes. A little M flare activity right now, it looks like, showing up on the chart. A couple M flares right here. Actually, in the last 24 hours, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 M flares. Starting to get active out here, and it is from that sunspot here I said to watch. It's about the only one that was getting a little bit of complexity going. Look at that magnetic arch right there. That is crazy looking. So that is from sunspot 3762. Right here, the latest image here of the magnetic complexity shows, we're getting some deep, dark, thick colors here, indicating some rapid development there of that sunspot complexity is going on. Back over here as well. Look at this one. Goodness. So we got a couple sunspots here. Could throw off some X flares looking at the complexity here. So keep your eye on those 2 sunspots there. X flare probability has been bumped up a little bit to 15% chance. M flare at 70. C flare around 99% chance or so. But that's a lot of M flare activity popping off here in the last 24 hours. The majority of that, let's see here, from 3762 and 3766, which is back over here. Here's 3762. The one that is rapidly growing, but technically this whole regional sunspot group and this area right here is rapidly growing. No major auroras in the forecast here. Past 24 hours seen a little bit of solar enhancement there, a little bit of auroras. I think it was not last night, but the night before. But for the forecast right now, things look fairly calm. Not a whole lot expected there in terms of any major aurora activity. All right. Check this out. This is scary. This is a big fire there in Northern California, just outside of me. I live down here in the Chico area. The park fire now at 348,000 acres. This thing is just blowing up day by day. Satellite-based hotspots here are going to be these orange dots. Obviously, it's getting up into the heavily forested areas there off of Highway 32 that runs out of Chico up north towards Mount Lassen. Getting up into this terrain here. Some of this has been burned, I believe, from the campfire a few years back. But there's still a lot of dry brush up here, a lot of dead trees, and that's still fuel for this fire to feed on. There's still evacuation warnings all throughout Paradise Pines, even up into the Sterling City area and Magalia, all underneath an evacuation warning. Not in order. Order is going to be here in the red. The southern end here looks like that is good news. We're not really seeing too much fire growth here on the southern end, but we're watching this area right here get up into the higher terrain. We got a south wind kind of pushing the fire up this way. Paradise Pines right here, the town of Paradise down south. So hopefully that fire will avoid this area. Again, we still got a lot of forested areas up here, really starting to kick up here. Just where the 32. Let's see here. There's Highway 32. Yeah, there's not a whole lot in here, but obviously the fires found quite a bit of fuel to amplify and to take off in this direction. But then again, look at the winds here out of the southwest, pushing this fire up into the steep terrain, forested areas, and over here we got Lake Almanor, Chester. these areas just dealt with a huge fire a couple years ago. The Dixie Fire, big one, burned half of burned a lot of stuff. It burned Greenville and burned all the way up into the Lassen National Park area, the eastern side of it. This fire might end up going into the western side of it and finish burning off the beautiful trees out there. I always like to go up here a couple times a year, and go hiking here with Missy Mimi's, but man, it's a little sketchy up here. So now we got mandatory evacuations here. There's Lassen Peak, so it definitely has extended here into the western side here of Lassen National Park. Mandatory evacuation here in the red. There's the hot spots continuing to go north. That fire now has a little bit of a directional shift here to the northeast with this wind. See these little wind bars look like little comets. They're all heading off into that way, and that's bad news. Here is what town is that? That's off of 36. Yeah, it definitely has jumped over 36 here. That's a road out of Red Bluff that takes you up into the Mount Lassen area and up towards the Chester area. So it just jumped that highway like crazy. A lot of dry grass out here, some oak trees, but these guys have no containment on it. Look at that, 0% containment with this fire. That is bad news. This could be one of California's largest fires. In fact, it is in the last since 2021. But this could be historically a fire of unprecedented coverage. Shingletown is underneath a mandatory evacuation area. There in the red, the fire is approaching it, heading up to the north here. These are satellite-based hotspots, and it's probably actually a little bit further into this area now. I think these update like every hour, maybe 2 hours. So we got a pretty decent south wind here today. Nice and cool. I got 74 degrees in my backyard right now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the first time it's been like that in probably 4 months. We've been, having 100-degree days every single day. So this is a nice, cool day, beautiful, cool day. But also at the same time, we have some winds picking up out here. So, yeah, it's a little scary out there, folks. A big fire. It continues to shock me every day. Every time they update this acreage here, 348,000 acres, 0% containment. It's so odd. And they've used these very large tankers to try and get some, get ahead of the fire and damper it. But whatever they're doing doesn't seem to be working at all. 0% containment. I know it's a little rugged terrain out there, but crazy. Absolutely crazy. So there it is. Lassen National Park over here. Volcanic Park. That's a portion of it. That's the... Where's the peak? This is the northern section and the eastern section here of Lassen. But it looks like the western segment over here is underneath a mandatory evacuation in the red. Again, you can find all this information if you want to know more about this from the watchduty.org. Pretty decent app. It's very handy. There's many different things you can use on it. You can look at the satellite street and whatnot if you want different views, and add a whole bunch of different weather options on here as well. But that's pretty crazy out there, to say the least. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening. I'm actually going to go outside and enjoy this beautiful day. Beautiful day. I can actually give my air conditioners a little break today. They've been running nonstop here for 3 months. It's just been hot. It's been a hot summer, so I'm going to enjoy this nice cool day, which probably ain't going to last for too long. I think maybe you got a day or so of a couple days maybe of some cooler weather out here, and then the heat returns for August. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on, folks. Stay safe.